172 Republicans voted no on reauthorizing the Violence Against Women Act. Seriously? Do they really care about women? Somehow I doubt it. Check it out. Leave your comments, ding the bell, share it with your friends, and subscribe to our channel. Is the Republican Party a modern-day death cult? And proud of it? I mean, they have a satanic logo. They openly celebrate racism and death. One of the things that brought this to mind was a post, this neighborhood app that, basically just gives you access to your local neighborhood. You can choose your town or your specific neighborhood. And there was one for our part of town, our part of Portland here, posted by a local woman named Terry. And the headline was, Senior Homeless Man with No Pants. And she writes, so I moved off, and she talks about the area. And last week, an elderly man came to my gate asking for $2. I did give him $5, and I talked to him a bit. Down below, she describes him as elderly, maybe 70 or 80s, bald on top and shoulder-length hair on sides, about 5'5", very skinny, very gentle and sweet. So anyhow, she said, I did give him $5 and talk to him a bit. I asked him to please be very careful at my gate as I have two very protective dogs and a son who's 7 foot and overly protective. He had a bag of children's toys and said he found them. He wanted to give me them for the $5. Of course, I refused, but he left them anyway. Looked like it was someone's recycling. I talked to him, and I asked so very kindly about his nakedness on the bottom half of his body. He had his pants down to his ankles and was completely naked. I told him I was concerned about him walking around like that and asked him what the issue was with his pants. As he reached for the $5, I noticed both hands were fingerless, and he could not grasp the money. This answered the question about his pants. When there are no digits, there's nothing to pull them up with. My heart sunk. He started crying, and so did I. I asked what had happened to his hands, and through the tears he said frostbite. I ran inside to get him some pants that he maybe could pull up. No luck. He had left the toys and was gone just as quick as he was here. Please, if you see an elder man with his pants down, please help him out. He's homeless and severely disabled. And then she adds a little codicil at the end. She says, when you think your life sucks and then this happens, it's a wake up. So what's the deal? I mean, Ronald Reagan closed the mental hospitals, gutted resources for homeless people, and Republicans ever since Reagan have fought every single effort to provide housing to the homeless in absolute defiance of Jesus' words in Matthew 25. Or food to the hungry, or medicine to the sick. A new study published in the American Journal of Preventive Medicine found that while the first cases of COVID appeared in blue states with, Democratic governors, New York, New Jersey, Washington State, when you look at the COVID pandemic in the United States over the past year, what you find is that the death rates are hugely higher, particularly on a per capita basis, in red states, in states with Republican governors, which just kind of confirms common sense. I mean, when Republican governors defy simple common sense things like wearing masks or avoiding dense crowds or invite, 500,000 motorcyclists to their town and then that disease gets spread to 30, 40 other states, what possible conclusion can you draw other than that they're trying to thin out the herd? They're trying to kill off those expensive Social Security Medicare users or the state's less productive, disabled, diabetic, or obese people. I mean, what other possible explanation is there for what Kristi Noem is doing and Greg Abbott is doing? I mean, it's as if the GOP has become a cult that celebrates death and destruction. And my question for you is, what am I missing on this list? I mean, if they're not a death cult, why would George W. Bush and Dick Cheney lie us into two unnecessary wars? You'll recall after 9/11, Mullah Omar, who ran Afghanistan, offered to arrest bin Laden and turn him over to a third country for trial. The Washington Post, October 29, 2001, quote, earlier this month, President Bush summarily rejected another Taliban offer to give up bin Laden to a neutral third country. Why? Well, he wanted to kill a few 100,000 Afghans, or Afghanis, I guess you call them. And even the UN was telling the world, remember we had our inspector there, Scott Ritter, Hans Blick, the official UN weapons inspector. They were running all over Iraq. They're saying Saddam has no WMD. He hasn't had WMD in years. And beyond that, he's halfway through writing a 3-novel trilogy, romance novel based on Aladdin. I mean, that's what he was doing, right? But Bush and Cheney wanted 1 million dead Iraqis, and so, you know, after Daddy Bush had killed 500,000 Iraqis with his children, Iraqi children, with his sanctions. Why would they do that? Why would the CIA sanction, why would the Republicans sanction, I mean, hell, even celebrate torturing innocent people to the point of death and then have the CIA destroy the evidence, the videotapes? They're a death cult. Why did Trump hide for months the fact that he and his wife got a COVID vaccine? Why did Republican members of Congress like Rand Paul and GOP-leaning media like Tucker Carlson openly push vaccine skepticism when the vaccine just keeps people from dying? They're a death cult. Why did the Trump administration let kids die in their custody and in their cages? NBC News reports at least 7 children are known to have died in immigration custody last year after almost a decade in which no child died in the custody of U.S. Customs and Border Protection. Death cult. Why would they spend an entire decade trying to take away Americans' health care? Most red states haven't even expanded Medicaid yet, but the feds will pay for it. Why do they cut food stamps and aid to pregnant women down to the bone? Why would Mitch McConnell and his buddies go to the mat to try to stop you from getting $1,400? Going to families who are on the edge of homelessness. Death cult. Every 9 seconds in the United States, a woman is beaten by her domestic partner, and 3 women die every day in America at the hands of their partners. But 172 Republicans yesterday voted no to reauthorize the Violence Against Women Act. 12 Republican members of the House of Representatives said we're not going to give a congressional gold medal to the Capitol Police after one of their members died at the hands of a Republican mob. It's a death cult. They promote racist slurs like Kung Flu. And then when white men harass and kill Asian women, the Republicans, oh, it's an outlier. It's a death cult.